I was looking for a name for a restaurant, something funny, and you know, I chose Ixcapuzalco. And it means 4 different things. You know, a town on top of rocks surrounded by ants carrying cotton. It's the town where I was born and raised. When I opened Ixcapuzalco, I wanted to focus in real, authentic food from Mexico. Because when you talk about a Mexican restaurant, people actually think about chicken fajitas or burritos or chimichangas, and that stuff really is not Mexican. That stuff you're not gonna find in Mexico. You'll find it in the border, but you'll not find it in the southern part of Mexico. So I wanted to bring the dishes that were actually real fruit from the heart of Mexico, bring it to the United States. My restaurant is known for the moles. The word mole, it describes a whole genre of sauces. All the sauces that we make here every day. Here at Ixcapuzalco, we serve the 7 famous moles from the region of Oaxaca. And that every town has got its own mole, every town has got its own food to offer, and that's what we're trying to do in my restaurants.
Okay, Val, I think one thing we all need to know is, could you have picked an easier restaurant to pronounce?
I know, I'm so sorry about that, but I don't usually pick a restaurant by its look, but I must say that the first time I ate there at Ixcapuzalco, it was the room more than anything. The room, I think, is gorgeous. When you walk into the storefront, it looks kind of like a storefront, and you're suddenly faced with this room with these incredible primary colors and these paintings and these kind of doily-looking things hanging from the exposed beams in the ceiling and a tree in the middle of the room. And I just think it's a lovely, lovely room. Then you get to experience.
Yeah. And the food there is pretty special because it is very authentic. Roger, how did you like your meal when you ate there?
I thought it was one of the best meals I've had in my entire life.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, you gotta, like, you know, describe it for us.
Wow. No, really, no, it's absolutely true.
That makes me feel
I
good.
kid you not. I had camarones con hongos, the shrimp with mushrooms, and they had a little Mexican jasmine rice in the middle of it. And but prior to that, you know, there's a whole lead up to it, right? I had a very different response to the decor, the look of the room, and especially after I was done eating, I thought that the food was of such a quality that the decor, this attempt to recreate this authentic village, I would have done it quite differently. I would have taken all that like heavy wood stuff out and just like put real Frida prints as opposed to an artist trying to paint like Frida on the wall. I mean, it would have had a different feel to it, more similar to what the meal was like for me. I had a very good waiter and asked him to recommend tequila, which I don't usually drink, and you know, he had this Tijuana Añejo tequila that was like, I was sitting there having I thought, I have to change my life so I can do this on a more regular basis. You know what I mean? It's like, I want to come back here like on a weekly or monthly basis.
Now, Richard, what about for you? How did you find the food there? Was it typical of other Mexican restaurants you've been to?
A typical Mexican restaurant for me would be Taco Bell. You know, so different was that the difference is I had to get out of the car and go in. Okay. So there we have a step up right from the get-go.
Gotta talk to him about drive-through mole.
We'll work with him later now.
Right, drive-through mole. It was very, very good. It was very, very good. I had the chicken. I don't have your pronunciations. Poblanos.
Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful. It started with this squash soup because I love soup.
Was that not an amazing soup?
That was a knockout.
That was. Yes. Did you have that, Ron?
No, I thought about it.
But it's very traditional to cook with squash blossoms in Mexico. It's very traditional,
right.
And the level of that soup was just so complex with the different vegetables.
I like that it was kind of pureed like baby food. I like anything like that.
Comfort food.
Comfort food. I was able to fit it into my comfort slot.
And what about the service for you, Richard? How did you find the service there?
Well, there we had a little bit of trouble.
How so?
Do tell.
Well, I can't stand hovering. Now we came, my dining companion and I. It was a Friday night, fairly early. So there really weren't a lot of people there yet. So there was a lot of hovering, and they snatched our appetizers away before we really were finished.
Well, you could have said something about that.
Well,
That's a good point, Robert.
That's right. Don't touch.
I'm not through with that yet.
as you may have gathered, I'm not a very shy person, and we did sort of say something. And at first it was very charming that, and I don't mean to offend anybody, but that English was a second language. But after a while, I think there was a lot of overcompensation.
So was it mostly like a miscommunication or not understanding rather than like a...
I think it was miscommunication. It was too bad because the food was really, really wonderful.
So how do you typically handle that as a diner? I know you said you started to say something.
Well, finally, actually, I really very pointedly said something. And said, I've mentioned this 3 or 4 times, and then the waitress came over, and then they finally got it. Because I had this wonderful meal with my companion. We just loved all the food. We liked the decor, and we hadn't seen each other long time. Yeah, I did like the decor. It was very kind of, I like anything that looks like Disneyland. I mean, I'm one of those kind of, those kind of guys. And there were no little birds that came down and sang, but other than that. But that did put a damper on the meal for me.
I had the perfect waiter. I mean, he didn't hover. He just kind of,
I didn't experience what
Well,
Richard
good. I'm
did
glad to
either.
hear that.
But this is Val's favorite restaurant, so I'm going to let her give us a summary of it.
I think it's a delightful restaurant, and I think it's worth exploring. I think it's a wonderful entrance into a different kind of eating. And we certainly have a lot of Mexican restaurants in the Chicagoland area, but I think this is a wonderful kind of a way to show that it isn't just Taco Bell.
Right.
I know, I'm
And Roger,
sorry,
what
I
about for
crushed
you?
it.
What's your summary of the restaurant?
I can't say enough about the restaurant. About the food itself, it was just really life-enhancing,
And Richard, what about your feelings on Ixcapuzalco?
It's worth going, and I think they'll work out the service stuff. I thought it was a little bit pricey for somebody like me. I just thought that was a little bit of a problem. But otherwise, I'm happy about the food.
Okay, well, you can find Ixcapuzalco, did I say it right? At 2919 North Milwaukee Avenue in Chicago. The phone number is 773-486-7340. And they're open Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and Friday for lunch. But they're open every day except Tuesday for dinner. And the average tab per person without the tequila and margaritas is $35.